The last time on Pete and his bus. Welcome to another episode of Pete and his bus. Now, this episode is coming at you lockdown style. What does that mean? Absolutely nothing. Before we get going, I've got to explain to you guys why I have been off the air for some time, and there are 4 perfectly good reasons why this is. The first reason is the barn is on a plot and the plot was recently sold. So there was a period of time where I wasn't sure whether I could continue operating in this building. As you can imagine, that's quite unnerving because everything I do is based around these barns. Luckily, the new owners are really lovely and we're going to come up with an agreement that I can carry on working here on my bus. So fingers crossed, all of that will be sorted. Now, the second reason is, as most of you know, my first bus is a bar for the events industry. And as all of you will also know, is that the events industry has been closed down. So I've not been able to go to work apart from the outdoor cinema, which I did in the first lockdown. So I've had to be a bit clever and a bit creative to try and get some work in. And so I've been making videos for a company called Well Bought, Well Sold. Today on Well Bought, Well Sold. I've owned lawnmowers with more power than this. Give us your opinion on the cars we feature today. They're a really cool classic car blog, and we're an auction tracker, and we're basically chatting about all forms of classic cars, and I've been asked to make videos for them, which is kind of my dream job, so I've been very busy doing that. The third reason is most of you will understand that if you try and paint a vehicle in a wet barn, you're not going to get very far. Now, because of all these situations in my life, I've been delayed, the weather has turned, and I've basically not been able to continue. And now, the last reason, number 4, this is a big one. I don't usually share stuff about my personal life on YouTube and Facebook, but this is kind of a big deal, and I have to kind of at least tell you guys because it's going to affect me from here on out. Basically, this happened. So I now have to look after a tiny person as well as myself, and of course the beautiful lady that created her. So those are the reasons why I've been off the air for some time. But I want to thank you all for sticking with me, and the time has now come to continue the hard work on our bus. So here we go! I would love to tell you all that whilst I was off the air, I quickly painted the whole bus, I flattened it off, then I painted it again. It's now lovely and red, and we're good to go. Sadly, that is not the case. I am genuinely starting where we left off. So where did we leave it? Well, it is time for some more pink. Mid-red. And just as I was getting in the swing of things, this happened. Don't get me wrong, the farm is a beautiful place even in the snow, but this temperature does not help when you're trying to paint. So what do I do now? There is something I could do. As you all know, I bought this fire engine a while ago, and I can now reveal why I actually bought it. At the time, a company was commissioning me to build them a bar out of this to promote their brand. Now, as you can imagine, with the pandemic and everything, that has all been scrapped, so it's not happening. But I originally sourced this fire engine for them, and I felt I did such a good job, and I liked it so much, I thought, you know what, I'll have this, and I'll decide what to do with it at a later date. Well, that date has come now. I found them a fire engine which was actually way too good. It would be a real shame to pull this thing apart because it's got all the original pieces with it, and it is in such good condition. So I am kind of stuck with what I should do with it now. But either way, if I'm going to sell it or pitch it as a project to someone, I have to make sure that she looks the business. And that involves cleaning products and some polish. Now the fire engine is good, but she has been sitting in the barn for quite a few months now, so she's covered in dust. And also, there are a few scratches that need attention.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
I knew she was going to look better, but I had no idea she would look this good.
Pete! Pete! Hey, Pete, listen to me!
What?
It looks shit!
Piss off.
Sound right, boy.
Polishing is so boring, but the results are looking really good, so totally worth doing whilst it's so cold. The other thing I did notice is whilst I was polishing away, I saw a big icicle hanging off the radiator, and the previous owner has obviously not put any antifreeze in it, and the bottom hose is split. And so I'm gonna put a heater under there, warm it all up, get all the ice out, and I really hope that it's just a hose that's gone and not the actual radiator. This is why you put antifreeze in your radiator, people! Stupid. So the hose that has failed is looking pretty crummy, and I'm glad I've taken it off because it would have needed replacing anyway. But all around, that fire engine is actually really good underneath, and I'm so glad that I kept it. Sadly, the other side of the fire engine is the same, if not slightly worse. So on we go. I'll be honest, I am so unbelievably bored of polishing, but I'm so close, so I'm gonna get my head down and carry on. back on, so for that I need to seal up that radiator, and here we have one sump plug. Now you only want to do this once, and you want to do it correct. Do not over tighten. On this Green Goddess look really crappy. So I went to a shop that is known for selling fluffy dice and car stereos, and I bought some tire cleaner in a can. It's probably going to be awful, but we're gonna have a go anyway. So there you have it, one Green Goddess completely tidied up. And I actually took her for a drive, and I put fuel in it this time, and she ran like a dream, so I'm ever so pleased. Now I promise that next time on Pete and his bus, the focus will be on the bus. I appreciate this channel is not called Pete and his fire engine, but circumstances are circumstances. As always, I thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time on Pete and his bus, and his fire engine, and his scooter, and his Fiat 500, and his Land Rover, and his circus bike.